my name is Ellie, and I'm reviewing this book called The Case for Loving by Selena Alco and illustrated by Shane Collis and Selena Alco. Selena Alco is an illustrator who was born in Vancouver, British Columbia in Canada, whose father was a Turkish man who spoke 7 different languages, and he taught her some languages. He also taught her how to draw and gave her a starter course in self-expression. She's lived in New York since 1991. However, she states that she writes books based on Canadian perspective. In her works, she uses bright colors, fun patterns, and themes of multiculturalism. And you can see with the cover picture too, right here. And in 2010, she had started working with her husband, who is an award-winning illustrator, Shane Collis, and this is one of the books that they've worked together. I chose this book because I always have been a supporter of interracial marriage, and when I learned about Loving versus Virginia, I felt at the beginning this was a very tragedy story, but in the end, this becomes one of the most beautiful real life stories, and I wanted to see how they talk about sad history to the children. And this book won 9 awards, including the Naiba Carla Cohen Award for Free Speech. So this book is about a couple who fought for interracial marriage in the United States in 1958. The man, Richard Loving, was a white male, and Mildred Loving was a black woman. Back then, Virginians as well as other 13 states, it was illegal to marry to different races because they loved each other. They got married in Washington D.C. and came back to Virginia, but got arrested for their marriage and was told it was illegal cohabitation. A few days later, they were freed, but told that they cannot live there anymore, and they needed to move if they wanted to stay married. So they moved to Washington D.C. and had kids there. In 1966, they decided to bring this case to court, which went up to the Supreme Court. Although they did not go to the Supreme Court physically, their lawyer told the Supreme Court justices what Richard said. Tell the court I love my wife, and it is just unfair that I can't live with my life in Virginia. Then court ruled in favor of Lovings. And this is a photographic essay book. Although they are illustrated, most of them, they are based on either the real pictures or pictures that are assumed to look like this picture. This is the family. That family, and also there how they look like living in Virginia. And like this, there's no physical picture of this scene, but they assumed that what it looked like. So 7 interesting things about this book that I learned from this book. There are not a lot of them because I already knew about this case and I learned about it many times in the classes, but there was some information that I didn't know. So, and this part specifically that she was part African American and she was part Cherokee as well. And I did not know that they got married in Washington D.C., where it was legal to get married for the interracial couples at that time, and then they went back to Virginia that I didn't know. and got arrested and got freed and moved to Washington, D.C. This is the scene. And they had 3 kids, Donald, Peggy, and Sydney. And the couple did not go to the actual court, but Richard told the lawyers to tell justices why they should be able to live in Virginia or wherever they wanted to live in, with a very simple reason. And actually, it took 9 years to go back to Virginia after they moved away, but at the end, they moved back to Virginia. This book was very accurate. They had all the information that I knew about this case. They didn't miss anything that at least I knew. So they basically covers every single information that the classes cover, the American history classes covers. And even more, they had more small details about the people. And this is an interactive, and this uses a narrative style. This is cause effect organization pattern, because at the beginning they tell the problem, what the problem was. The problem was obviously they could not get married because they're different races. But at the end, the cause, which is they get married in Washington. They got married in Washington, D.C. and they needed to move away to Virginia, but they at the end got to come back to Virginia. And this book uses a bibliography of the author. At the end, I don't have the picture of it right now, but they show the picture, actual physical picture of the family, as well as the author and the illustrator. The illustrator is an African American man, Shane Collis, and the author, she is also person of color. So they are also interracial couple as well. And they also uses cutouts too. And like this. And their watercolors, this was watercolors, this was paint, and these parts are cut out. This part also, this part was cut out. These as well. And this book enhanced my understanding of this topic better and a more memorable events. This topic can contain very dark part of American history, the racial segregation. However, with the colorful illustration and with the beautiful language, she successfully let me understand what is going on in real life without giving me a bad idea on the each race group. And they actually talk about, they describes beautifully about the race. I don't know if you can see it. And this book is probably from 9 to 14, maybe younger. And I would definitely recommend this book to children because this topic can be very difficult to explain to young children. However, the word choices are very well done and still did a great job on giving accurate information without missing anything. And I also like this book because sometimes the author uses technical words but also explains briefly what it means as well as the pictures.